Sure.
Yep. So I'll record it, and that way, if anybody joins late, I can let them know they can go back and they can hear anything that you've shared with us today. And then we'll also be sharing this on Facebook and social media. So whoever we don't have
Okay.
here live, I'm sure they'll be able to still benefit from your sales expertise, Randy. So thank you very much for
For
agreeing to
sure.
join us.
You're
So we
welcome.
have Randy from Aquapool Pros, and I will kick it over to him to do a little introduction of himself.
Okay. Yeah, I've been in the pool business for just a little over 7 years. And every aspect of it from inside sales, outside sales, um, sketches, drawings, permit applications, all of that kind of stuff. So having a new way and a better way of doing leads and processing them and getting stuff into the pipeline is great. I actually worked for another company until September of last year, sold them out through 2023, and came over to Aquapool Pros, and trying to do the same thing for them.
Amazing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe we'll start with maybe you could just walk us through how your sales process would differ for an internet lead, someone that finds you on Facebook versus someone who might, know somebody and give you like a word of mouth type of referral.
Well, referrals are always good because you have a built-in trusted, relationship, at least secondhand with that. But when new leads come in, the good part about leads that are coming in from the pool builder marketing system is that they're somewhat pre-qualified, like pretty much pre-qualified when they come in. And Adriana and the other people who are here, I don't know if you saw the little things that have come out the last 2 days, but having the financing link out there for customers who actually either need or perhaps want to get some or all of their pool project financed, that's a big deal too. And so we use HFS already, so that was a plus. But they're a pretty good company to work with. But then just getting those leads, and I have found that the quicker you start calling those people back and the quicker you can get an appointment with them, the ability to close the deal goes exponentially up from there. But those leads are people generally that are more than just kicking the tires, and so you can really focus on those.
All
Hey,
right.
can I ask you a question, Randy? But I'm
Yes,
sorry
sir.
to jump in.
No,
Oh, no
by all
problem.
means.
Okay, on new leads that come through the marketing department, um, what we try to do is as soon as we get a lead, we try to text. We found that sometimes people, if they don't recognize the number, they're hesitant to pick it up, or it might come
Right.
across as spam. So we text, and in our text, we introduce ourselves and say, we know that you've been reaching out in reference to a swimming pool. And we basically give them our website, our contact information, and basically tell them this is where you go if you're interested. So that's, as soon as we get one, that's the first thing that we do. Then we follow it up with an email to their email address. And then the third thing we do is a phone call, just because I found, in my case, I found a lot of just calling. The people don't take the call originally because they don't recognize the number. And I don't know how many people these days kind of screen their calls, but do you see
Everyone.
do you feel like, yeah, do you feel like the texting aspect that would be helpful to you and your group? Or Syed, what was your opinion on that as well?
I can tell you from my perspective. I would like to ask a clarifying question, and that is whether or not you are texting through the CRM or from your own personal phone.
From my own personal phone. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And the only reason I'm asking that is because when you do text from the CRM, it still gives the number that they would be calling in anyway if the customer did. I have been recently text. The first thing I do is try to call someone off the bat. And again, if they're screening calls, I always, if they have the capability of leaving a message, leave them my name and number. I tell them why I'm calling and how I actually got their information. I said, hey, we just see that you've just responded to one of our Facebook ads, looking for some information about getting a quote or having an in-ground pool installed. And I'm just returning your call. This is my personal cell phone number or my direct line. You can feel free to call me or text me on that. I have been amazed at the number of people that will call right back when I do that. But I also am amazed at the number of people that don't want to talk to anybody live.
Right.
They lose their comfort zone for whatever reason these days, and especially the younger the person, it seems like they're more apt to do that. But doing all of those things, those three things of texting, calling, and emailing, I think is good. And in each subsequent method of communication, I am leaving them information that, hey, I just texted you, or I just sent you an email, or, I just left you a voicemail message, but I'm going to follow up with this email. And doing it that way, that is as much due diligence as you can probably do right out of the gate.
Yep, that's you know, for us, we try to maximize, obviously our time, X number, and we want to touch each person, maybe 5 times before we feel like, are there somebody that are worth pursuing or not pursuing?
Yeah.
But just in my experience, following up with the first step being a phone call, not to introducing ourselves, I've seemed like I've had better luck texting and letting them know who we are. Then that gives them the open door to, if they want to call, I say, this is from my business phone. You feel free to call back. And then you're right, we'll either get a text message back saying, I'm going to talk to my husband, or, thank you, or something like that. So that leads into a conversation. I just wanted to throw that out. If you felt like the process we have in place here for us is one that will really help us, or not help us, but is kind of on par with what you're doing.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's a good way to do it. And I'm not sure which way would work best necessarily. I typically always try to call them first, because usually, if they're on Facebook, they at least have their phone or the ability to talk handy right then. And if they don't, sometimes they'll text back or whatever. But being able to contact them as quickly as possible, I think, is the key. Last summer, there was kind of a feeding frenzy going on, at least in the St. Louis area.
Yeah,
and we were overwhelmed with the amount of people that we could follow up with from the leads we were getting. And it's not that all of those people went with somebody else, but they just lost interest, when we couldn't get back with them, like some of them for 30 days. So, yeah. So getting to them soon. And right now, I'm still pretty much believer that nothing happens between Thanksgiving and Super Bowl Sunday, but we are getting some leads going in. But right now, people are just like, it's not a priority, because they're not looking over the fence into the summer just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So a good time to refine your processes.
I want to add something to that, Randy. I know you mentioned about the text versus call. The way you approach, I think that is phenomenal. Like you obviously let them know, hey, this is my cell phone number. Feel free to give me a call. What I've noticed with the internet leads, you kind of want to confirm who they are. So some of our clients, we kind of tested something. All we did was we sent them like an opening text. Hey, this is Eric with this pool company. Saw you fill out a form on our Facebook. Is this their full name? And when they respond back saying yes, you guys can start a conversation from there. So that way, it's a good opening question. You're asking them, hey, did you do it? Yeah, perfect, awesome. So you guys can like initiate that conversation from there. Versus when you call them directly, like you guys were mentioning, like they filter the call. So there's a chance they might not answer, but if you text them first, you got a yes. Now, when you call them, they know exactly who you are. So that would be really powerful for you guys if you guys want to ever use that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I did have a question though, regarding the process. I mean, I still get some people that even though I text them, I email them, and I call them, when I ask them for a survey, they all act like I'm taking something important out of their lives and they don't want to submit a survey. I'm like, we need a survey to be able to have an idea where we can build your pool and stuff. So is there a way I can kind of coax them to do it without making them feel like I'm taking something important away from them? Do you have any suggestions?
All right. So I totally got interrupted with a call from my boss just then. So could you
Okay.
repeat?
Sorry, no
Could you
problem.
repeat the portion of that question right after, hey, Randy? Everything else you could just tell me.
Okay, Randy, I'm sorry.
Thank you, and I am so
I hope
sorry.
you can hear me. I've been having issues.
No,
with
I
my
can
audio.
hear you fine. so.
Okay, this is the thing, like Syed and everybody's mentioned, the process is flawless. We communicate well, email, text, either through the CRM or personal, but I still get the occasional customer who's kind of scared to give me any information like street addresses or even surveys. And we need the survey to properly give them an idea what can fit in their yards. But do you have any suggestions how to make them feel comfortable to give us that information? Because I still get a few that don't want to give it.
Okay, and that does come up. You can, and the people may not always say that, but you know that some people, if you call someone right out of the gate and say, hey, I need to get your contact information, you know, everybody and every scammer and everyone who's trying to get their information and sell it, even for marketing purposes, does that. I always try to talk to them about what they might be looking at, how long have they been thinking about getting a pool. And then I wait until the time when I'm actually setting up an appointment with them, which I try to do on that first phone call, to come and see them so we can look at their yard and stuff. And of course, if they want us to come see them, which also weeds out people,
right?
Then you're going to have their address, and they're like, yeah.
Obviously, I mean, that's what I try to make them understand. We're not scamming them. Why would you submit the request in the first place? We wouldn't be trying. I know they're like, you agree with you. They are very concerned. I myself scan a lot of things. I don't want to be giving my information out to just anybody. But if they filled out the form, they asked us to help them assist in getting a pool quote, they have to trust us. We're not there to take advantage of them. But I know I still don't get that.
But if you're trying to, I mean, you have to go see people, you know, in order to take a look at the yard, or at least somebody does. Right. If you're not working outside sales. But if you're going to make an appointment to go see them, if they are hesitant to make an appointment with you and just want to wait a little while or talk to, you know, a spouse or whatever, then that's fine. You don't need to get any of their address information or anything at that time. You can verify their phone number and the email address that came through the system. You can verify that those are correct, because that way you'll know you'll have good ways of communicating with them. But other than that, getting their information is of no value at all if they're not going to have you come over and make a presentation for a pool. So I never asked for it.
Oh, well, that's good that you told me that, because I do feel sometimes like I said, again, I'm trying to help them, but I don't want to seem like I'm prying or being nosy or just want to like scam them or something. I never like scammers, so why would I do it to somebody?
Right.
But just winning the customer's trust is very important. I do notice that you mentioned that important. Customer's trust has to be won, but you can't expect them to give you all the information they have. They have to gain your trust, and the right way to do this is to try to get that appointment done on the first call, like you just said right now. But I still get a few that don't want to do it on the first call, so that's why I end up giving them my boss's email, and then they correspond by email, and it seems to be working out. I had the last two actually today and yesterday. They wanted to do email correspondence. They didn't want to do the appointment just yet. So that's actually working. The suggestions you made actually do make a lot of sense to me now, now that I'm hearing them.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, you bet.
Hey, Randy, you said that do you talk to them about at all about model shapes, designs, or anything before their site visit, or do you just try to do the site visit and then determine where to go from there?
If they have a specific kind of shaped pool in mind already from, looking at stuff or whatever, I'll ask them as part of that first conversation if they know what they're looking for, or if they're looking at different things. And if they said, no, I don't really have anything, I'm just open to whatever. Well, we're going to try to sell Model Ts as much as we can because they go in the ground quick. Let's be honest.
Right.
And that's what makes the most money for you and for us and our company. But I also, if they really don't have anything in mind, sometimes a rectangular pool just wouldn't look good in every yard. One with a kidney shape or oasis shape or something like that may be better. I take usually very minimal stuff with me when I go. I don't have a big packet of stuff to go over with them because they've had window salesmen. You know what those are like, right?
Right.
So, and where you go through an entire presentation, but I do take one page that has, the 14 or 16, basic shapes of a pool. And then I have a few pictures on my phone or on my laptop that I can share with them of some pools that we have put in and go from there. But you guys have probably found that almost everybody wants 95% of what they want is the exact same thing. Everybody wants salt water. Everyone wants to consider putting a heater in, depending on where they're at climate-wise. Almost everyone wants a tanning ledge in this day and age, and so it makes it pretty easy going in to have those shapes in front of you and the different sizes that are readily available and stocked by your supplier when you go in. So.
Well, we sell fiberglass pools, and that's our, we're 14 to 20 weeks out, depending. So it's for us, we direct them in our initial email and our initial text. We tell them to go to our site, and then they can see the models. And then again, we try to hope for that they have looked at the site before we call them. And then after we call them to set up a site visit, we explain to them what the site visit is about. We can't really quote them a price until we've seen how much decking they want, where the pool's going to go. Is there any exponential circumstances for, do we have to rent a crane? Does it have to go over the house? Any of those kind of issues. Is the yard so much out of level that we're going to have to build a retaining wall? All those things kind of go in during the site survey. But we were just, our biggest thing is, how do we convert as many leads and make sure we're following a similar process that you guys are following, being as Jill's provided us a little information of how successful you have been from a dollar volume, and that's obviously everybody's goal is to sell more. I just want to make sure we're on the same page of what we're doing from following up our leads, and make sure we're doing it the similar way that you guys might be doing, as vis-a-vis you had such much success with what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's been great to have that kind of success. The leads that have come through, the Facebook ads and stuff like that. When we've been closing most of the appointments, well over 50%.
That's great.
I was going to ask another question, Randy. Do you have any tips for if a customer is reluctant to move forward, and you've kind of gone through the whole process and you know what they're looking for, but for whatever reason they just haven't signed the contract? How do you usually handle it at that point?
Well, I don't know how things are for the rest of the country, but like where we're at, we have a limited amount of pools that we can put in any given year. We were fortunate for a very mild December. We dug 10 new pools in December, and have the walls up and the collars poured. And we do all polymer and steel wall vinyl line pools. That's all we do. We would do fiberglass, but we can't get fiberglass pools in Missouri, like anywhere. And so until we thought we had a supplier lined up, but now he's quarantined and visa issues in Poland. So yeah, but basically, when the follow-up for people that has seemed to work the most is say, hey, here's the deal. It takes, us 5 to 7 weeks from start to finish to from the time we put a shovel in the ground until you're swimming in your pool. And since we have a finite number that we're wanting to do, and everyone, of course, wants to be swimming by Memorial Day, we have to start digging right away. The only way that you get in line is to make a decision now. And if it's a down payment issue, then we'll work with them on that to maybe give them, $5,000 at the time of contract signing, and then we'll give them another 30 days to come up with the remainder of it. And then we have progress payments along the way throughout the construction process. And but it's the fact of getting a pool in the ground that seems to, or at least getting in line for that makes people, it's the best thing that I've seen this work for us to get people off top dead center and to make a decision to do it.
All right, great answer. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That is the same, Randy. That's for us. We're in Virginia, and we're one of the few manufacturers and our installers in Virginia that still could possibly have some dates available before midsummer. But our dilemma is, if we're speaking to somebody today, we're still 16 weeks from getting a fiberglass pool. Right. And so, we're trying to fill our pipeline, and we have a goal of X number of pools, but the same thing is, if we're in front of somebody and we tell them, and we have a good relationship with our manufacturers of the fiberglass pools, that they will allow us to put a pool in their system. If the customer then chooses to change his mind or have postponed for some reason, we won't lose our spot in line from the manufacturer. We'll just switch the name from Smith to Jones and the model from Lagoon to Pacific. And they'll allow us to do that once we're in the pipeline. But because, they're in the pipeline, we couldn't do that the week they're making the pool, but we could do it 4 to 6 weeks out. So once we get them kind of locked in to that date, and we do it by once we sign the contract that starts that process of getting them in line. So once they sign the contract, once we go from that part of the process, that moves us forward and kind of reassures them that where they are in the process. And for closing, like this time of the year, when I'm closing people, I'm saying, you want to swim by this summer, we still have a few spots available. We make it real small window for them. We don't give them, you have 6 weeks to decide. We want you to decide, because if you don't, it'll be middle of the summer to the end of the summer, or even to the fall. And do you kind of try to picture?
Yeah, we do the same approach, and some people, don't believe us. And then, we had some people that waited, like 6 weeks to sign up, and they went from like 4th place in line to 23rd in those weeks. And now they're, we're not going to start digging until late August for them. But, they realize, you got to understand that almost everyone you talk to has been someone has tried to sell them something. And there's always like, here's the reason you need to sign up today. And they have this automatic, block response to that. And so what you have to do is say, hey, I realize that, I'm here to sell pools and stuff like that. but without seeming crass or without seeming egocentric or anything like that, you can, look them in the eye and tell them, hey, the deal is, I've got 4 more appointments tomorrow, and we have a finite number of pools to put in. And once we're sold out for the year, we're sold out. And I would love to see you guys get a pool, but there's no, if you guys aren't ready to do it, or it's just not the time, or there's financial things, we'll help you remove whatever barriers we can. But the truth is, you're going to have to make a decision if you want a pool this year. And I'm just encouraging you to make it sooner rather than later, because I don't want to have you feeling bad when you're going to have to wait till next year. And then stick to that. Yeah.
The only
Don't go calling them back a week later and saying, I'll give you $5,000 off if you'll sign today. I know the temptation is there to do that, because most salespeople get paid, at least on some commission structure, and you want to do that. But listen, right now we're at a place, and who knows how long the window will last, but it looks like it's going to be at least another 3 years where, you've got to weed out the tire kickers. And even if that's at point of sale and they say, I don't know, I'm going to have to think about it, you can say, okay, I said, you can do it. Here's our price. If you want to talk to some of our people that we put pools in the ground, you want to go look at maybe getting some short-term financing help, if that would help you, be able to make your down payment or get started on the project. I can help you with all of those things. But there's only so many pools that we can build this year, and we'd like for you to be one of them. But we need for you to make a decision right away.
That's a good question. That's a good question. I'm glad that Dan asked that question. That's kind of like I was thinking about. I was in the same wavelength with him about that. But I did have one more thing before I know the meeting's going to end soon. How have the cost of building pools over the past few years affected how many people we build for? I've always had that question, and I can't really get a straight answer from Ralph. Not that he can't answer it, it's just he's so busy. But I've always wanted to know, how does rising costs affect the amount of people we get to build pools for, if you know that? Not really.
From the start of the pandemic forward, it hasn't affected anything.
Okay, good.
I don't know how it is in your area, but like pool prices have pretty much doubled in the last
Cypress,
3 years.
Texas.
Yeah,
we're in Cypress. So yeah, he said actually, I started with this company back in February 2021. So I'm still learning the ropes, but he said that from the time of the pandemic, it was very successful. He had lots of pools built that really helped. But since I've been here, all I'm noticing, more tire kickers, that's all I'm noticing, and more people who are like always asking us, we always say we have to, when you quotes, we say give you a 30-day price guarantee. After 30 days, it may change. So that helps, but it still get the occasional person, like this one client, this was before my time, that had done a quote back in January 2021, of course. And now they come back a year later, say, I want to come back, but I want the same price and the same conditions. And Randall just straight told him no. The price has gone up since then.
It has.
You got to go with the new pricing sheet, and the new price changes. Everything has to be reflected. Of course, that person has not gotten back to us. They didn't like that answer.
Well,
but it's the truth. You can't.
But if they have looked at any type of building materials at all, over that time, they realize that they've gone up astronomically. So just from our standpoint, just having a 10 to 15 or 20% increase, and again, it's not necessarily the increase in our labor costs or our overhead costs, but it's certainly an increase in the material cost. And I don't know about you guys, but having qualified people to dig proper holes and assemble the pools and put them in and plumb them and run electric and stuff like that, nobody has taken a reduction in pay in the last 2 years.
Wow.
So and they're not going to. And to get good people, you have to pay more money. And when the economy gets a little bit better, they're not going to take less money to stay on. It's just the nature of any construction industry. And so you just have to pass along those costs.
Yeah.
And I will tell you one other thing, and I don't know if you're doing this, but like from the time you leave that first appointment with them until the time you are ready to go back out with them, and I always go and present the proposal in person, always. I've tried it the other way in the past, and all that is a piece of paper for them to shop against two or three other people. But when you sit down with them, probably half the times I do on the initial presentation, I will get a signature and a check there just by going and doing it in person. But that time window, it's got to be short.
Yes.
So hopefully with your suppliers and stuff like that, you can get drawings and quotes for kits and equipment and liners and stuff back really quickly. And I don't know how you guys price things there, but I go off actual cost plus a range of costs that I figure that it's going to take for the actual labor and other items that you have besides the things you can buy.
Yes, well, thank you for answering that. I mean, like I said, I want to get better at helping Randall since I'm his assistant. I'm mostly the one who makes his appointments. And I've always, like I said, I've experienced everything from the good, the easy ones, like, here, I want an appointment. Hey, have a nice day, it's done. And then to the ones that are like, well, let me call you back. Let me call you back. Let me call you back. So I've enjoyed this conversation with you guys because I wanted to learn more. I wish he would have been here to listen to, but sometimes bosses are just busy, they just can't sit down to listen.
And on that note,
Joe can provide a link to that later.
Exactly. Yep. We can share this with Randall, and we'll be sharing it with our other customers as well. Because this is really valuable insight.
Yes.
I will tell you something else. We have ran ads in like home magazines and different things like that, community magazines, and they usually produce a lot of response, but a qualified response is worth its weight in gold. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love, Syed, about the what you've got going, because those people, the sticker shock factor is gone by the time they click on it. And I always go through there with them, to make sure, okay, you understand that, our baseline pool is going to be about this amount. Yes, I understand. Okay. And so that's, just double checking with that, but having that pre-qualification and removal of the sticker shock, because pools have gone up almost 2 times, in the last few years.
That's what I was told, and I'm like, well,
yeah,
I can see why people are reluctant sometimes,
Yeah, I mean, we're in the St. Louis area, and we're not, in any mega thing, but we're hitting off $100,000 for pool plus concrete and fence on almost every pool.
Yeah. That's great. Because I'm pretty sure, hopefully in 2022 will bless us with more pools. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what we all hope for.
Yeah, more pools and less tire kickers.
Yeah.
It's more people who are ready to build. Let's get this done.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, let me see. Well, I am so happy that I did attend. I mean, maybe I'll attend more Zoom meetings now after this experience. If I could just figure out how to get all the features figured out, then I'll be fine.
You're doing great.
All right. Thank you, Jill. Thank you all. Is the meeting almost done, or can
we still have some more time if we have more questions. So it depends on if anyone has any other questions.
It's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know where Dan has anymore. I think we pretty much filled out everything, all the bases that I was hoping to get covered,
Yeah.
Randy, for us, 2 years ago, you used to be able to be in the $50,000 to $70,000 price range, but it's gone to the minimum price for a pool, a small pool for us is $85,000 with 4 feet of deck.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just like you. The past couple of weeks, almost every pool that I'm quoting is $100,000 plus, and that's you know, and some of that obviously is with the hardscape, but just the pool itself, it just, everything has gone up dramatically. I mean, every piece of equipment, every stick of pipe, every fitting, every heater, everything has gone up substantially in the last 2 years. And for us to, you know, we just have a formula that goes in. It's a small pool, medium pool, or a big pool. We just have a formula that will calculate the number of man hours and you know, spit out a kind of a raw number for us. But people are not hesitating. Well, not hesitating. When I say not hesitate, they're not shocked if you say it's going to be $85,000 or $90,000 with just a small bit of decking around the pool. And then I think as long as we can sell a pool for less than they can buy an SUV, we'll be all right.
I know. And you know what? It is a huge purchase. But the one thing that I think is working and still working in our favor is, you know, this pandemic has made families kind of circle the wagons a little bit. And rather than traveling so much and getting out in crowds, and they're just wanting to have their own little resort / oasis backyard entertainment area at their home. And, you know, it's scared a lot of people, and not just scared them money wise. It's scared them for, you know, the health and well-being of their kids. And, you know, right now we're just benefactors of that. So
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I've noticed, that we do get a few customers that like to, like you said, Randy, that want to stay home more and travel less. They want to do a staycation. I've noticed that we get a couple of customers that want to build pools because they have elderly parents or children that are like special needs or that can't leave, to have something to keep them entertained. That started back in the time of the pandemic, of course, but it's still going on. We had 2 clients, they have not reached us back to us yet, but they've said, we want a pool for my daughter. She's in the hospital getting treatment, and well, we want to have a pool for her. So I've been noticing more people are trying to get therapy pools, which is, I think that's going to help us keep going. I think that's a plus. If we get more clients that are focused on getting therapeutic pools to help their family members get well and stay happy. I wish, and they're more, to me, more solid, more sincere than some of these characters we've been getting. Those are the people who are, that I do look forward to speaking to, because they actually, we tell them we understand their circumstance. We can even throw in a few stories, like my boss says, try to empathize with the customers. That helps also. Like I have a nephew who's autistic, and then tell him a little bit of my background. And that actually has helped me warm up with some of these customers. They like it when you take the time to try to empathize with them, because then they feel they can trust you. Like I brought that first point of subject, that people don't trust you because they think that you're a total stranger. Why should I be giving you my information? But once you break the ice, like you've said, and win them over and bring something in perspective to them, to make them more open, to be more readily available to give you surveys and information to get these appointments started. And I do agree, Randy, everything you've given to me up to now is very, very informative. And I will say I'm very grateful that you were here to give us some advice. And I just wanted to throw in that last bit of information to you, and saying that your advice is spot on as far as what I was looking for answers.
Thanks, Adriana.
No problem. All right. Well, I say hopefully, will we be doing more meetings like this later in the future, or is this just a one-time shot?
Yeah, and you all can give us feedback. We'll probably send out some sort of survey to see if this is helpful. We'll give people a chance to watch the recording, and we'll see if we want to do other sales related Q&As or just anything else related to the pool building industry. So we'll be gauging some feedback on that, because I can't say it better than Adriana already did. Randy, that this was very helpful. Very, very helpful information, and I'm sure we'll be able to help a lot of our customers.
Very good. I'm just happy to finally attend. This is my official Zoom meeting all by myself. No bosses.
did it.
behind me to tell me how to
Congratulations.
listen.
Yeah, you did it. That's great.
Yay, I'm so excited. 40 something years later, but
No, that's great. That's
anyway.
great.
All righty.
All right. Any last words from you, Syed, or anything, or Randy, before we
No,
wrap
I
this up?
just I just
Nothing
want to
here.
appreciate
Good luck to
everybody's
everybody.
time. Yeah, no, absolutely. I just want to appreciate everybody's time here. You guys, took some time out of your day. I just wanted to host this so we can provide some more additional value to your business. And
Thank you.
we offered this, to Randy, and I'm really grateful for you, Randy, to
You're welcome.
accept that and make this happen for us. So hopefully we
Thank you.
continue to do this like on a monthly basis, and not just even like marketing and sales. We'll try to bring up different topics that you guys have, like different bottlenecks that you guys have in your business, operation perspective, fulfillment side, so we can bring all that to the table and see what value we can gain from each other. So that's the entire goal for this.
Cool.
And as part of the post-meeting survey or whatever, you may want to just ask people if they have questions about the CRM itself. Sometimes Windows-based things can be a little bit overwhelming or daunting to people.
Absolutely.
But and there's no way that anybody can use all of the features of it, because if they did, they would never go out and make a sales call.
Right.
It's that robust.
Yeah.
But there's some streamlined things that you can use to really keep track of your communications there and keep track of your leads, and it's invaluable to me. But maybe if somebody wanted to know some ins and outs and even Syed, with us, we went through a few iterations of getting something that actually was adapted to my sales style and how I wanted to receive the leads and things like that. Super easy to do and very adaptable. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Great. Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Randy. We can definitely look into doing some sort of live information sharing session about the CRM and also, we only know it from supporting the system, but maybe there's some features that you all find particularly useful as pool contractors, and you can share that with each other as well. So yes, I appreciate that. We'll definitely look into that.
Yeah. Good.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you everyone for your
All right.
time.
Thank you,
Thanks for
everyone.
joining.
Jill, Syed, thank you guys.
Thank you. No,
Much
absolutely.
appreciated.
Thank you, guys.
Nice meeting you all, and
Nice
I'll be in
meeting
touch
you.
with everyone.
I know I'll still be talking to Jill.
You know it.
Till
Okay.
transpond.
All
All
right.
right, guys.
Take care, everyone.
Take
Have a
care.
great day.
Bye-bye.
Take care, sayonara.